All right, hello everybody. We've got some severe weather going on right now, here in the well, right now it's currently in Illinois. We've got quite a few active tornado warnings. We've got one out here near. Oh, give me a second. My audio is playing back through again. There we are. Um, we have a couple of tornado warnings right now. This one out here is for East Central Henry County. Actually, this one has been canceled. This one, it looks like, produced some amount of. Let me see what the previous text said. There was a confirmed tornado on the ground at this one. It was moving east at about 30 miles an hour, which is about roughly the direction that these are all headed in. That's a 6-hour loop. Let's try to cut that down a little bit. So 6 hours, we'll go to about half an hour loop on that. So we can see they're all headed off to roughly the northeast. We've got this other tornado warning over here with actually a fairly pronounced hook on it. This one here is for, this remains active until 6:45. This is for northwestern LaSalle and southeastern Lee counties. This one here, again, is until 6:45. This is for thunderstorms capable of producing a tornado. Now, if you don't know what that means, thunderstorm that's capable of producing a tornado is slightly different than a thunderstorm that has been confirmed. The biggest difference is that if we take a look at rotation, we can see on base velocity here, we have some weak rotation right in this area. Radar confirmed or radar indicated tornadoes are ones where we can see tightened rotation, but we can't confirm anything on the ground. Now, a radar confirmed tornado also implies that we have a debris ball in there, and we can see that by taking a look at correlation coefficient. If I can find that real quick, here we are. Where that couplet is, where that area of rotation is, typically we would expect to see lower values of correlation coefficient. So that's more when we get into the blues. But we don't see any of that right here. So that's likely not going to be on the ground. If you are in the path of the storm, though, you definitely want to make sure that you are taking shelter. We can see a pretty pronounced hook right in this area, and that's because just north of Pawpaw here, and that is that hook is generated because you have rotation that's bringing the precipitation down to the south, and it's wrapping around. So you end up getting kind of, we call it precipitation size sorting, which is where you have heavier rainfall closer to the updraft, and then the lighter rainfall and hail, which also, so that the heaviest droplets and the heaviest hail are typically going to fall to the north of the area of rotation, because the updraft will go up through the area of rotation, and then it will disperse into the downdraft sections of the storm. So that's typically the rear flank downdraft right down here where we see that hook, and then the front flank downdraft, which is up further to the north. You end up getting larger droplets near and hail near that area of rotation, and then lighter droplets as you progress off. And that's why you see heightened values of reflectivity down in down near the rotation and sort of closer to the core of the storm while it trails off further away. That tornado warning, it looks like, was extended further out. This is for southern DeKalb County in north central Illinois. This is until 7:15 p.m. Again, there is no confirmation on this tornado, so right now it's radar indicated rotation that's really driving this. But we did have a storm that did produce a tornado. It's just no longer, it doesn't appear that it's on the ground anymore, and that's this one over here near Manlius. This tornado warning is oh, this one actually just got, no, this one is the one that was canceled. So this one is no longer, there's no longer a tornado on the ground for this one. Take a look at the rotation. The rotation's nothing impressive over here either. Let me see if there's a better radar site nearby to use. This one would actually be a good one for this particular storm. Oh, and we had an issue. Give me one moment, guys. I'm going to be right back. All right, and we're back. Sorry about that, guys. My program decided that it wanted to crash all of a sudden. But we should be good now. Hopefully it doesn't happen again. I'm going to come over here real fast and change this color palette. I don't know why it switched over to this one. That's all right, though. We're going to take a quick look at velocity from this radar site. And yeah, there's almost no rotation in this whatsoever, so we are good on that front. Coming a little further over, we can see a little bit of rotation out here, but one of these Chicago radar sites is going to be the best for this. So let's see if we can find KLOT. That's that right there. And yeah, there's very pronounced rotation on this storm right here. So take another look at reflectivity. You can see that hook right in here. This is where that precipitation is being lofted up. So the updraft is right in the kind of the notch of this hook, and that is where the rotation would happen as well. So that tornado is going to be right where that updraft is, if there's one in here. It does not look like it has been confirmed on the ground yet, but treat any tornado warning as if there is a tornado actively on the ground. We'll take a look at correlation coefficient just to see. Oh, hello there. That right there, just north, looks like northeast of Waterman, about west northwest of Hinckley. That looks like that could be a debris ball right there. We'll switch back over. So this area right in here, grab my telestration tool, where we have outbound winds going out this way and then inbound winds coming in this way. This is that rear flank downdraft. This is the inflow. Looks like right in this area is where there would be a tornado if there is one. If we take a look at velocity, we see the exact same thing on here. The red is wind or precipitation that's being blown by the wind that's moving away from the radar site, while the green is precipitation that's being blown by the wind toward the radar site, and that creates this little counterclockwise spin right here. And there we go. There's that confirmation that is a tornado on the ground. See what this text says. Oh, here we are. The telestration tool is still on. We'll finish that real quick. This is for a confirmed tornado located near Waterman or 7 miles south of DeKalb, moving east at 15 miles an hour. The hazard is a damaging tornado. This was spotted by storm spotters. And again, we can see that debris ball on the radar. So stuff is getting lofted up right now into this. This isn't a particularly big debris ball, which is good. It means it hasn't hit very much, but this is confirmed on the ground now. We will take a look and see what there are any other closer radar sites to see closer to ground truth. It looks like that's the main one that's nearby. But yeah, this is wrapping up really signature to a supercell, which is what this is. Supercell is basically any tornado, or not any tornado, any thunderstorm that has a persistent rotating updraft. A lot of times they're characterized by having that hook on them. These two are trying to interact and merge together, which fortunately, as these two get closer, we'll see if one's moving quicker than the other. It looks like they're moving at roughly the same speed right now. But with that interaction, we could see that circulation starts to fall apart. That would be best case scenario. As of right now, this tornado is moving off to the northeast at 20 miles per hour. It's fairly slow moving, but again, we do have that confirmation that a tornado is actively on the ground. Going to grab a tracking tool right now. This is right in here. Tracking tool's not wanting to work right now. All right, we're gonna have to go at this without the tracking tool because that's not wanting to work properly at the moment. But we can see this is just to the north of Waterman. If you live in Waterman, you should be fine. This is north of you. This is also north of Hinckley, and it's moving off to the northeast at about 20 miles per hour. You can really see, I'll grab the telestration tool one more time here. You can really see how that precipitation is coming in like that and wrapping around just like that, and then this inflow is coming in right like this. And the reason why you get that inflow, there is likely rain falling in this inflow, as this appears to be a high precipitation supercell. So what's going on here is that the updraft is actually stronger than the rain falling around it. So it's lofting that rain further up again. So there is some rain falling in here, but we call this a bounded weak ecoregion. Because if we were to look at higher elevations, for example, let's go to the 1.3 degree tilt. Okay, you can't see it very much on there. Here we are. So this is the 1.8 degree tilt. You could see that this little circle right here, I'll clear out the telestration tool and then draw that. That little circle right here of depressed reflectivity, that's where that updraft is. So that's going to be roughly where this tornado actually ends up being. The tornado is truly roughly right there. I'll clear both of these out real quick. And then we're going to go ahead and turn the telestration tool off and come on over to base velocity again. And we'll take a look further toward the ground. Yeah, this is a very strong circulation right here. Again, tornado is confirmed on the ground. Correlation coefficient is looking, in this most recent update, a little worse. That's the debris ball right there. So this little area of depressed correlation coefficient. What that essentially means is that the correlation coefficient tells you how related the horizontal size and the vertical size of the particles are. The more uniform they are, the higher the correlation coefficient, so the more red that it is. But the lower that it is, the more blue it is. So that means that you're getting a wide array of particle sizes that radar is detecting in there, and that's typically indicative of non-meteorological substances being lofted up. Sometimes that's insects, sometimes it's birds, but a lot of times, especially in situations like this where we do have active areas of rotation, that is typically indicative of a debris ball. Let's see here, I'm checking chat right now. Yeah, it went green on CC and then back to blue again. So what's going on there is odds are it is, it looks like it's in a fairly rural area. I'm going to turn the radar off for a second and see what the map shows. Yeah, the map shows that this is in a fairly rural area, so it likely doesn't have much to pick up. So that correlation coefficient will vary a lot. Once it starts, if it starts hitting buildings like it must have just north of Waterman when we saw that initial drop in the correlation coefficient, the initial, the initial debris ball forming there, it likely had hit some type of structure, whether that was a house or a silo or something along those lines, and lofted that debris up into the air. See if anyone said anything else. That's looks like all, but how's it going, JD Railfan? Thank you for joining us today. Going to continue watching this, though, see if there's anything else that I'm missing. This little tornado warning down here is still showing, even though that's been canceled. Aside from this confirmed tornado right here, which, again, that circulation is looking very healthy right now, we have severe thunderstorm warnings around the area as well for southeastern Ogle and Lee County. For this particular one, this is until 6:45 p.m. This is Central Standard Time. This is for golf ball sized hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds. So that's another thing with supercells. You will have this hail swath off to the north of where the primary circulation is, where the hail is able to beat the updraft and start making its way down to the ground. So typically the hail swath is going to be in areas, grabbing this telestration tool again. So the circulation is right in here. The hail swath is going to be just north of it. And we can take a look really quickly at ZDR. and you'll be able to see that a little bit better. So grabbing ZDR. So areas where the ZDR is high, those are more spherical droplets. So the red in here is where ZDR is pretty high. So the hail swath that we're taking a look at right now is just north of that area of rotation, right in here. So this is south of Maple Park. Maple Park is likely still seeing some decent sized hail, but the largest hail core is going to be right in this area where that pink is down there. This is where most of it's going to be. If we take a look at mean estimated hail size, you'll see something similar here. It hasn't updated yet, but as this updates, you'll see it move closer to that circle that I drew there. So we'll clear this real fast and take another look at that circulation. Again, there is a confirmed tornado on the ground in that. So if you are in the path of it, oh, it looks like it is no longer a confirmed tornado. It is now just gone to a regular tornado warning, which again means that there is rotation in this that radar is indicating. We'll grab a look at base velocity. There's another tornado warning down here that's for an area of rotation south of Shabona, and this is just southwest of Waterman. So if you were in Waterman, you are not in the clear, as this is a very tight area of rotation. These are kind of impressive values of inbound and outbound winds right in this area right here. Again, you have that signature hook that a lot of supercells tend to show on radar, where you have your inflow winds right here, and you have your outflow winds right here, and they generate that circulation right in the middle there. So we have two active tornado warnings right now. We have the first tornado warning that is for southern DeKalb County until 7:15 Central Standard Time. And this is for a very intensely rotating supercell right down here. And then we have another tornado warning for east central DeKalb County, and this is for severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, also with a history of producing a tornado. And this is moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. This one further to the south is moving off to this is moving off to the where are we here? Moving northeast at 25 miles per hour. So again, we have two active tornado warnings at the moment. They're both in DeKalb County. One's in southern DeKalb County. The other is in east central DeKalb County. One has a history of producing a tornado, but they both are showing very impressive values of inbound and outbound winds. This one down here especially, I'm going to take a peek at correlation coefficient and see if there's any debris ball there. There is not, but this one right here, I'd be willing to bet likely goes tornado warned here before long, as this is pretty intensely rotating storm. We've got an update now. I'm going to take a look over at our base velocity and see what that's showing. Again, very impressive inbound and outbound winds. Take a look at the last half hour and see how this has progressed. So it had more impressive inbound and outbound winds a little while ago. So it does look like that circulation is starting to deteriorate just a little bit. Correlation coefficient still looks good for both of these storms. Let's see what gate-to-gate shear shows. Yeah, a lot of gate-to-gate shear on both of these. This is basically a product that shows you, it gives you an idea of how the wind is moving between little bins, so little sections of the radar. If I were to take smoothing off here, each one of these little squares here is a bin, and so the gate-to-gate shear essentially looks at how the velocity is changing between these. So if we move on over to base velocity again, an area where you have a very intense incoming wind and very intense outgoing wind right next to each other is going to get you a higher gate-to-gate shear, similar just right down this line just to the east of Waterman. Throw the gate-to-gate shear on here, you can see that line right there on that as well. So we're going to turn smoothing back on, come back over to base velocity, and see what's going on now. We just got another radar scan in, so grab another look at base velocity. It looks like this area of rotation up here is trying to do something again. We see an intensification in these outbound winds, these downdraft winds. And it looks like we're starting to ramp up once again here in what looks like the southern part of this warned area down here as well. We'll grab a look at correlation coefficient again, and I want to take a look at reflectivity. So that's looks like the area of rotation is primarily, looks like we might get a little area down here to the south of DeKalb County. I want to take a look at velocity with that circled. Yeah, so there definitely is a little bit of rotation within that area there, so that's something to keep an eye on. As of right now, I'm not seeing much that is too indicative of a tornado on the ground. I'll throw a correlation coefficient up here. We do see a clear, that's velocity. There's correlation coefficient. Yeah, nothing on this northern storm. It doesn't look like it is still warned though. This north warning is in effect for east central DeKalb County. This is 7 miles southeast of DeKalb, and it's moving northeast at 20 miles per hour. This includes, doesn't look like they have any towns listed. So there must not be any major towns within this. This is just south of Cortland and just to the southwest of Maple Park. This other storm over here, this warning is for southern DeKalb County. This is moving east at 25 miles per hour. This particular one looks like it includes the town of Hinckley. It's just north of Sandwich, Illinois. So if you remember that, you probably remember the tornado that came through. Box around Papa expired, but still showing high wind. Looking at digital velocity tilt 2. So you're using a radar scope. Okay, let's take a look. Papa over here. Yeah, so this, I'm just late to seeing your message. This has moved out of that area already. So as of right now, we have no active tornadoes on the ground, which is a very good thing. These are all moving off to the northeast at roughly 20 to 25 miles per hour. We can see, it looks like this area of rotation is moving a little far north in this warning box right here in east central DeKalb County. We'll see if they decide to extend this particular warning at all. If we do, I'm fairly certain it's going to include parts of Maple Park. It'll likely, if not touch Elburn, it will be right on the edge of Elburn. Virgil, I think, will be a little too far north to be included in that, but I expect another warning box to likely get issued for roughly this area right here. We'll see what happens if that comes in, but this is still very impressive rotation on radar right now. Pretty concerning, but I'm not seeing any other signs there being a tornado. Again, though, with this being in a sparsely populated area, mostly farmland, there's not going to be much for a tornado to pick up if there is one on the ground. What is concerning as well, though, is this is moving toward an interstate. Let me grab my GIS system really fast and grab those road sign labels, see exactly what this is. So this is Interstate 88. So if you are driving along Interstate 88 right now, or know anyone that would be traveling along Interstate 88 through DeKalb County, parts of east central DeKalb County, you're definitely going to want to tell them that there is an intense storm on its way, a tornado warned one. Take a look at correlation coefficient. We're looking good on there. Just take a look at comments. Yeah, I'm using radar scope. That's a good one. I like a lot of the tools that I get along with WSV3, so I tend to use that. I'm trying to look into making my own at some point. I've got a little bit of a programming background, but I don't want to pay for one, and I also have very specific things that I would like with this. I've quit YouTube for a while, and I want to come back to it eventually, but the workflow of trying to do it all on your own without any of the special tools that the broadcasters use, it's kind of difficult. I actually did broadcast for a little while up in Lafayette, Indiana. That was a great experience. I did severe weather coverage up there, and that was nice. I joined the team right after the March 31st outbreak, so I was a little upset that I missed that, but I did get to I did go solo on severe weather coverage on August 5th, which that was an interesting day. Had I think five consecutive or five tornado warnings all at the same time in that on that day. So that was difficult to get around, to touch base on every single storm there. But back to these storms, velocity is still showing a pretty impressive area of rotation here in east central DeKalb County. I feel like we haven't gotten a scan for a little while. It looks like we've not gotten one for about 2 minutes now, so hopefully one comes in before long. But as of right now, it looks like this is primarily it at the moment. This is again, if you guys will remember, this is where that area of enhanced risk is. We'll take a quick look at the Storm Prediction Center convective outlook. So this enhanced risk that's right up here through northern Illinois, bordering Lake Michigan. This includes Chicago. This includes a couple decent cities along Lake Michigan, as well as a lot of just northern Illinois in general. This does push into parts of northern Indiana, so Rensselaer, Maryville, Gary. The slight risk, Lafayette to Indianapolis. Crawfordsville is included in that. Same with Bloomington. Columbus is in that area of enhanced risk. And we've got this second mode that'll come in later tonight along the Ohio River down here through central Illinois and central Indiana. There has been a lot of cloud cover, which has really stifled the ground heating that you would need in order to generate much in terms of thunderstorm activity. I do want to take a look at satellite imagery, though, real fast to see if there are any cumulus cloud fields that are bubbling up out here. Of course, it's nighttime, so I'm going to have to go infrared. My color palettes aren't wanting to play ball with me here. Let's see where my color palettes are. Okay, I'm not able to get that to work. So what we'll do instead is we will oh, nice. I'm glad to hear that you guys are still talking. Sorry for going AWOL so many times. It's life is just crazy right now. Um, so what we'll do instead, though, is we will come over to College of DuPage, and I'm going to grab, let's see here, kind of regional view of things. Let's see if we see anything in the visible band. No, not really. I guess I'll go ahead and flip it over to that now. take a look at what's ongoing on the ground here in Illinois. See if there's anything extra that's happened. Okay, lots more tornado warnings. Okay, let's take a look at them. So this first tornado warning that we have here is for northern Kane County in northeastern Illinois. This is until 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. I apologize for my clock up here. That's in Eastern Standard Time, but this is located near Pingree Grove. Apologize for my pronunciation, or near a line. This is moving northeast at 15 miles per hour. This is for radar indicated rotation. So if we take a look at the velocity on this, I can see a decent little hook right here. So that's this area of, actually, is that area of rotation, or is it this other little area? Likely, and both are within the warned area. The one that looks a little more impressive though, yeah, it's going to be this one here that's just moved over Pingree Grove, moving toward Gilbert's right now. If you remember, I did say that tornado warning, oh, wow. Okay, this couplet is very impressive. This is moving just south of Maple Park here. You can even see in this radar imagery, there's almost certainly a tornado in that. Correlation coefficient isn't picking up on anything, but that is a very pronounced area of rotation right there. You can even see the precipitation wrapping around into this, and then the area of inflow would be coming in like that. So the area of rotation is a little counterclockwise whirl right in here, but seeing that precipitation wrap around like that is not a good sign. That is indicating very, very potent rotation in there. Look at base velocity again. Yeah, and you can see just this very powerful rear flank downdraft right here. If there's not a tornado in this, the winds on the ground are going to be very strong with this. Maple Park is likely getting hailed on at the moment. You can see pretty intense reflectivity returns there. If we take a look at the mean estimated hail size, if it wants to load, it might not want to load. No, it doesn't look like it's going to give me anything, but that's all right. The hail core in this is going to be just north of that area of rotation, so we're talking right in here. And they're actively putting out scans pretty quickly, because I believe that they're likely thinking that this is a not a great situation. That could be the start of a little debris ball down there. I'll take a look at some other data real quick and see if that's what that is or not. It's right where that couplet is. It's right embedded in that hook. The hook's kind of falling apart, which, whether that's a good thing or that's a bad thing, we'll see. Got another little hook forming down here near Sandwich. And the reason why I say we'll see on that is because it could be that the inflow on this is so powerful that it's just lifting all of that rain back up into the atmosphere, kind of trying to create another bounded weak ecoregion there. This would be going through what we would consider cycling. Oh, here we are. We've got a confirmed tornado down here further to the south. This is for northeastern Kendall and southern Kane counties. This is until 7:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This was confirmed by storm spotters. This is moving east at about 40 miles per hour. This is located near Sugar Grove or Plano. This is right in this area here. It's actually another pretty impressive hook on that. Oh, very powerful inbound and outbound winds right there as well. Grab the telestration tool and show you where this roughly is. So we've got your outbound winds right here. We've got your inbound winds right in there. And this tornado is likely going to be in this area. We'll take a look at the correlation coefficient and see if there's any debris ball. There is, it looks like. I'm going to turn the telestration tool off. So that would be this right here. If we take a look at velocity one more time, that's right where that couplet is. go ahead and turn telestration off. This is a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is moving toward Sugar Grove. It's moving at about 40 miles per hour off to the east. So if you're in Sugar Grove, you are right in the path of this. This is a it's got very powerful winds on radar. I'm not sure what kind of damage, if any, it's doing on the ground, as I believe this is also moving through a fairly rural part. But again, it looks like we may have, not sure if that's an airport or not, near Sugar Grove here, but this is moving in that direction. And this is confirmed on the ground. If I can get manual tracking to work, I hope I can. Here we are. So this is roughly right here, and this is moving off to the east at about, let's see here, 40 miles per hour. I'm not zoomed out enough for this. .40 miles per hour. So this is going to be in Sugar Grove in about 8 minutes. This is actually going to be there in less than 8 minutes because of the amount of time it took the data to reach here. So within the next 5 minutes, if you live in Sugar Grove, you need to be in a shelter of some kind, whether that's a basement or an interior room in the house with no windows. This will be in Montgomery in about 15, I would say 10 to 15 minutes, and Aurora in about 13 to 17 or 12 to 17 minutes for Aurora. So if you live in any of those areas, or you know anyone that lives in any of those areas, make sure they are in a safe spot, in a basement, interior room in the house with no windows, because there is a confirmed tornado on the ground that is moving in that direction. Again, we see very impressive winds from this, very impressive inbound winds and outbound winds. And if we look at correlation coefficient, still see a little sign of a debris ball there, but I'm not seeing anything too, not sure if WSV3 has precip depiction, but Caperville had what looked like a hook. What do you mean when you say precip depiction? When I hear that, I think more like precip typing. But this is a confirmed tornado on the ground. It is moving to the east toward Sugar Grove, Aurora, and Montgomery. This is moving very quickly at 40 miles per hour. So if you live in those areas, you need to take shelter immediately. Looking further to the north, where this pretty impressive area of rotation was, see what's going on there. We're still showing signs of life in that storm. That's just to the southeast of Maple Park. I don't see any clear signs that there's anything on the ground currently. I'll take a look further to the north. Looks like we've got an area of rotation just to the west of Pingree Grove. We'll see if, yeah, there's definitely some rotation in there. It's not nearly as impressive as this area of rotation that's just to the west of Sugar Grove. West of Capeville. Let's see, where is Capeville at? Yeah, I'm not seeing Capeville on my map. Is there another town that's nearby? It has been a while since we've had our last radar scan. I'm wondering why that is. I'll turn radar off and back on again. See if that helps at all. Here we are. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's really wrapping up here. Base velocity. Yeah, that is very powerful. No debris ball, though. That is good, because it means it likely hasn't hit anything, at least nothing substantial. Likely some farm fields, but this is that little area of rotation in here. This is going to be roughly where that tornado is. If we look at base velocity, that's right where we see the rotation at. But that is a very impressive couplet. It's a very impressive hook on there as well. When they start wrapping in on themselves like that, that is typically a sign that there's intense rotation there. This is moving to the north of Sugar Grove right now. This has actually become, it almost looks like it's a left moving supercell, to be entirely honest with you. Yes, so this curved off to the north suddenly. So this just missed Sugar Grove, but the really concerning thing is this is moving toward Interstate 88 right now. Oh, Caneville. Okay. Give me one moment here. Sorry about that. I am back. This area of rotation is moving ever closer to Interstate 88 here. It's likely moving, actually, it's moved over the interstate by now. So hopefully, anyone that was traveling along that has made their way out. Um, let's see here, Caneville, north of Sugar Grove. How far north of Sugar Grove? I'm not working with the same city labels that Radar Scope has. Um, they extended this severe thunderstorm warning for essentially the rest of Illinois as these storms are beginning to pick up speed and move further off to the east. The severe thunderstorm warning out here is for Kendall County, southern Lake County, northwestern Will County, Kane County, southeastern McHenry County, and DuPage County. In northeastern Illinois, this is until 8:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. I'm going to come back down to this confirmed tornado and take a look, see what the correlation coefficient shows. I'm going to run this back a little bit and see. Oh, this is just because data hasn't loaded. There we go. So I'm going to see how this has evolved over time. Yeah, there's definitely a debris ball on that. They're going to have to move this this tornado warning further to the north, as this is starting to move out of the warned area, and it's still got a really impressive area of rotation on it, and it's also got a debris ball with it. So the next warning box, if I had to guess, is going to be roughly that. That's likely where they're going to move this warning, because this is moving further to the north. They actually might move it even further north than that, considering how far north it is traveling right now. Yep, there we are. They have moved this warning further north. This now is a tornado warning for southeastern Kane County until 7:30 p.m. And this is for a storm that produced a tornado. All signs are showing that it still is on the ground. There is no confirmation it's on the ground currently. We're looking at a radar confirmed tornado, but that radar confirmed tornado means that it is confirmed. It has a debris ball on it. If we take a look at correlation coefficient, you could see that debris ball right here. This is just to the to the west southwest of Batavia. And this is where that very impressive area of rotation is. See that right here where that little notch is, where the inbound and outbound winds are meeting at, where we see this intensification right here in those winds. This is right where that tornado is going to be, right where that debris ball is, right where that hook echo is as well. This is a very concerning storm as this moves further to the northeast. Now has Batavia, Geneva, and St. Charles all in its path currently. Not sure of distance. That's all good. Considering I don't think it's been tornado warned yet. I'm not too concerned. The only hooks that I'm seeing, it looks like likely there will be another tornado warning issued further off to the north here, with where this hook echo is. Although that rotation's not looking too great. Does look like there's a pretty pronounced hook echo right there. So we'll see if they end up issuing a tornado warning further to the north. I'm going to guess that they do. That rotation's nothing, not too impressive. Further down to the south here, there's a hook right in this area. Okay, so that's nothing. Oh, there was just an update, so it's moved further off to the east now. Yeah, this area of rotation is starting to fall apart. We still have this very clear area of rotation that's moving. It's just to the west-southwest of Batavia. This is to the southwest of Geneva, and this is moving more in the direction of Geneva and St. Charles. It looks like it's going to clip Batavia to the north, but if you live in any of those towns, you're going to want to make sure to get into shelter quickly, as this is moving into a more suburban area of Illinois. This is moving. It looks like if this stays on the ground, this is going to move just to the north of Chicago into many of the suburbs of Chicago. This next radar scan is actually looking a little better. It doesn't look like the rotation is nearly as pronounced. Correlation coefficient is not showing a ton. Still have a little bit of what looks like a debris ball back in here, moving just to the west of Batavia now. It's right where that circulation is, though, but it looks like another circulation is starting to wrap up further to the north here. So it looks like there are two circulations on this storm. We've got that old circulation right here that produced the tornado, and then we've got a new circulation right in here that, if we take a look at the velocity again, we could see, well, I drew that first arrow kind of in the wrong spot. That first arrow should be right in here. And then they're offset by a little bit, but you get the idea. These are where the areas of rotation are currently. There are 2 of them within this warning box. One of them has a history of producing a tornado. It's still moving into an area that's favorable for tornadoes. And actually, if we look a little further to the south here, we can see a little hook starting to form down just to the east. Well, about, yeah, east-southeast of Sandwich, Illinois. Looks like there may be some minor rotation here. I know you're seeing all green here, but that can also happen where you have stronger winds and then you have weaker winds that are moving into the same kind of direction, and what you end up getting is you'll get winds that wrap around one another. That can still be some weak rotation down there. I'm not seeing anything too indicative though. We definitely have an updraft here. We can look at ZDR to confirm that. Actually, it looks like most of the updraft is further off to the north here. There is a little updraft down. Oh, here we are. It wasn't loaded all the way. So yeah, we do have an updraft down here, which if we get another area of rotation from this, that's where we would start to see a hook form if we get one. It looks like we might have a little hook out here just to the north of Montgomery. So this is starting to pass the radar site now. This is where you get you transition from your greens to your reds, because red is moving away from the radar site and green is moving toward the radar site. And when they're moving off to the northeast the way they are, the little axis that they would move past becomes tilted off to the west. But we still have decent rotation just to the west now of Batavia. Look at reflectivity, we can see that they're starting to get rained on in Batavia. We can see a little hook here just to the west of Geneva. Base velocity on that's showing pronounced area of rotation as well. Not seeing any debris on correlation coefficient, fortunately. So I'm not certain that these are still on the ground, but if you are in those warned areas, you are going to need to take shelter because these could produce a tornado if there isn't one currently on the ground. They've extended this tornado warning now for no longer being observed tornado, whether that be radar or spotter observed tornadoes. For West Chicago, Carroll Springs. This is for northwestern DuPage County and northwestern Cook County in northeastern Illinois. So if you live in Chicago, if you live anywhere in Cook County, you are likely hearing tornado sirens right now as these circulations that have produced tornadoes are moving into that area. Right now, if we take a look at this northernmost tornado warning, this is for southwestern Lake County, southeastern McHenry County, and northwestern Cook County. So sirens have probably been going off already because this was issued earlier than this one was. This area of rotation here is looks like it is just to the, let's see, here we are. It's just to the northwest of Carpentersville. Moving just to the north of Carpentersville right now. That's where that area of rotation is. We also have another area of rotation which is just north of Align, Illinois. So that's this right in here. This is moving toward I-90 right now. That is, where are we here for the telestration? Right in here. So this is just to the east of Align. Align, it looks like, is within this tornado warned area. If they're not, they are just outside the tornado warned area. But this looks like it'll move over I-90 here any second. We've got just a lot of rotation right now just east of Geneva. I'm not getting any radar updates. I haven't since it's been about 5 minutes. See if we get one here. Fingers crossed. Not seeing anything. Might turn this off and turn it back on again. Tends to solve everything. No, still not getting one. So they've stopped scanning as quickly now that it doesn't appear as though there's a tornado actively on the ground. But this is moving just to the north of Chicago, and I can't say Chicago's in the clear because with these thunderstorms that are building to the south, starting to move into more favorable areas of that could start rotating. We definitely don't want to assume that they are in the clear at the moment. Take a look at what the HRRR model is showing. Yeah, so it's got the environment right around Chicago being pretty favorable for tornadoes. The photograph on that looks pretty, well, it kind of curls around itself. Difficult to say. But these areas of storms down here to the south are still building, and as they continue moving on, okay, there's something wrong with this radar now. I'm not getting anything. Change products. See if that helps it update. Haven't gotten an update since 8. Oh, here we are. We're at 8:22 p.m. now, so just updated. Let's see where this circulation is here. Looks like the circulation, there's a circulation that's just past a line. Looks like a lot of it's kind of fallen apart though now. We still have that one area of rotation out here that's now off to the northeast of Batavia. This is moving into the West Chicago area. It's past Batavia now. It is now into Cook County, and into DuPage County as well. This one here is until 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, my clock here is incorrect, so don't go off of this. Go off of what your clock says if you live in Illinois. I am in Eastern Time, so that's what my system shows, and that's why this shows that. But we still have this area of rotation that's pushing into Cook County right now, moving just to the north of West Chicago, just to the south of Wayne. West Chicago, Wayne, Carroll Stream, Barlett, Hanover Park, Streamwood, you're all within the warned area. This did produce a tornado a little further west, so it still has the potential to do the same. It could be cycling, which is a process that many supercells end up going through. Is my audio all right? By the way, am I? Can you guys still hear me? Just let me know in the chat. Right now, we've just got kind of, it's turning into a linear system. It looks like with some embedded supercells in it. This will likely, more likely than not, become a QLCS, or more like a squall line, as this moves a little further off to the east. But with those embedded supercells in it, we can't rule out the potential for tornadoes. It's better than having supercells, because what can end up happening is the line of storms can end up outpacing the updraft and sort of suffocating the storm as it moves on out. So these all starting to form a line is a very good sign. I do want to take a look further to the south and see if anything's really initiating down here. I know there are no warnings down this way. Let me find a radar site really fast. Where are all my Central Illinois radar sites at? There we go, KILX. Let's see what we're showing down here. That looks to be ground clutter. Yeah, most of that's ground clutter. We are starting to see some stuff pop up here in southern Illinois. We'll see, is that just sprinkles or is that thunderstorm development? Don't really have a good angle on these little cells down here. I'm guessing that is probably, they're probably starting to break the cap right now. I'm going to take a quick look at the Storm Prediction Center. And actually, I'll switch over to this terminal radar site at the airports, because this will get us a better, much more detailed look at this. Grab base velocity, see what it's seeing. So there's still at circulation. It's moved just north of West Chicago. So this is out of the St. Charles, Geneva, Batavia area. So they are no longer within a tornado warned area. If I'm going to guess that it's moved out of the area. The National Weather Service is allowing it to expire. Just hasn't come off my map yet. But we still have that area of rotation here. That's in northwestern DuPage County, in northwestern Cook County, and northeastern Illinois. This is until 7:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, my clock is not correct. My clock is in Eastern Time. We are dealing with Central Standard Time because we're in Illinois. These are moving off to the northeast. These are moving at right around 50 miles per hour. These are picking up speed as they're starting to line up, which is pretty common with linear cells. So squall lines, they typically have an outflow boundary, which will help push them quicker. It also means that they're likely interacting with the upper level jet a bit more, and that's helping them push along. So we still see that pretty tight knit area of rotation down here. This is updated since then, though, so we are further off to the east now. Enhanced just extended into parts of Michigan and Indiana. I'm going to grab a look at that. Isn't that how it was before? I could be wrong. I don't know that they changed much in that, though. I think they might have just shrank the enhanced risk further to the north, or they shrank all the risks further to the north. Wish there was a good way at looking at old maps from, I mean, not really all that old, but old maps from today. But I'm not seeing anything that suggests that enhanced risk has been moved further into Indiana and Michigan. Oh, no, you're right. It has. It absolutely has. It is now including parts of South Bend and parts of southern Michigan. So Niles, New Buffalo, Bridgman, Stevensville. This is likely in response to how intense these storms out here in Illinois have been, and with this line starting to build further to the south, this will likely impact parts of northern Indiana. Looks like the slight risk has stayed mostly in the same area. Same with this southernmost enhanced risk down here. I'm going to grab, there's not really anything to see from the Indiana radar, or the Indianapolis radar. I'm not sure why I just clicked on that. Currently, we have 2 tornado warnings active in northern Illinois right now. This is pushing into suburbs of Chicago. This is for Cook County. This is also for DuPage County. Also Lake County and McHenry County. And these are until 7:45 p.m. These are 4 areas of rotation embedded in this now squall line-esque type storm as this is moving off further to the east. It's getting real messy up here, which is actually, it's a really good thing that it's starting to get so messy. difficult for circulations to keep up when it gets as disorganized as it is right now. So we'll likely see a lot of these storms start to fall apart. Some of these tornado warnings will be allowed to expire, I'd imagine. Seeing a couple of really small areas of rotation, not seeing anything too terribly impressive. Down here to the south, does this look like much? Yeah, it's real disorganized. So that's a very good thing. These scans are about a minute old. Let's see what the terminal radars are showing again. Get a little closer look into here. So they've extended these tornado warnings actually out for this is a severe thunderstorm warning. Here's my tornado warning. This is for southeastern Lake County, northeastern DuPage County, and northwestern Cook County. And this is until 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is for a line of storms that are capable of producing tornadoes because there is still rotation embedded in these. The rotation is just a little weaker than it has been, although this area of rotation here that's just now passing I-90, this looks like it could be something. Of course, my reflectivity won't update, or not my reflectivity, my velocity map won't update. Please update. There we go. Okay, so that area of rotation is not quite as impressive. That right there, though, that looks considerable. This could be pretty high up, though, considering it is a terminal radar. Is correlation coefficient showing anything on here? Well, correlation coefficient isn't wanting to load at the moment. I'm actually starting to wonder if these terminal radars have correlation coefficient. Do you have any other radar sites nearby? Not really. Okay, so we'll go back over to the KLOT radar. It's kind of unfortunate because we are starting to get fairly high up into the atmosphere right now. This far away, that's a pretty impressive inflow outflow right here. This is just to the west of South Barrington. This looks to be a pretty pronounced rotation. I'm not sure if that's a debris ball. I don't believe that is. No, it's a radar artifact. So luckily we don't have a debris ball right now. We do have pretty intense area of, oh yeah, and we're starting to curl up onto itself. So this is just in the South Barrington area. So if you live in South Barrington, you need to be inside. You need to be in a shelter, whether that be a basement or an interior room with no windows. Those are the most important things. I cannot even begin to tell you how many images I've seen of houses that have been completely demolished with the exception of one of those interior rooms. Typically a bathroom. If it's a closet, that's good too. It just needs to be in a spot that it can't get as directly impacted by the winds. Is that a debris ball? I'm a little suspicious of this, but the data is not very good right in this area, so I'm not certain that that's a debris ball. This is picking up probably hail a little further to the south, but with this wrapping up like this, and the base velocity is likely going to show that intensifying there. This is past I-90 now. This is moving into the South Barrington area. This will be moving into the Inverness area soon as well. Palatine, Buffalo Grove, Deer Park, Long Grove, you are all in the path of this. Arlington Heights. If you live anywhere in that area, you need to be in your shelters immediately because this is a very powerful storm right now. And this looks like it could produce a tornado if there's not one already on the ground any moment. We'll see if any of these update to say observed, but that's a very impressive circulation right there. And that just shows how quickly these can wrap up, because just a minute ago this looked like a disorganized mess, and now we have a very clear inflow here. Inflow is likely coming off from the north and wrapping into it. This has moved past a line that's now moving really into the suburbs of Chicago, further off to the north. Like I said, Arlington Heights, you are within this tornado warning. Northbrook, Highland Park, Lake Forest, Vernon Hills, Lake Zurich, Barrington, South Barrington, you're all within this tornado warning. Sirens are going off. You need to be indoors. Got a couple more severe thunderstorm warnings out here to the west. I know that these have been ongoing, but primary area of concern are these tornado warnings further out to the east, so I haven't touched on those too much. Do want to keep watching the south though and see if anything pops off, because the environment is pretty favorable for some severe weather development further down that way. Just have to see if anything pops up. Check on the HRRR real quick, because the HRRR shows some thunderstorm activity popping up in south central Illinois and pushing off toward the Indiana border within the next hour or two. I know we'll be moving into a capped environment, but with those storms already firing, it'll likely be a pretty favorable environment for. Oh, here we go again. Just had an error message pop up. I'm going to switch back over, and I will be back really soon. Sorry about that, guys. After some technical difficulties, we are back. Still exactly the same. Very impressive hook. Very impressive rotation just to the south of South Barrington right now. You can see the precipitation wrapping around itself here on reflectivity. We grab the telestration tool. We can really see that wrapping up in there. So this is where that, if there's a tornado on the ground, it's going to be right here passing through South Barrington. This data is a few minutes old, so it's likely further off to the east now. This is probably closer to the Palatine area, just north of Arlington Heights. That's likely where this tornado is right now as it moves off to the northeast at a really, really quick pace. I believe it's roughly, let's see here. Okay, 35 miles an hour. So these storms have slowed down a little bit. This is still impressive circulation. We'll see what the next radar update shows. Hopefully it comes out soon. Because this current update is from this current data is from 8:34 p.m. or 7:34 if you're in Central Time. Need to wait just a minute and see if that see what that does. Fortunately, these storms further off to the south look like they're behaving. They're producing some severe hazards, wind, hail, and whatnot, but I don't see a ton in terms of rotation at the moment. I'm gonna grab this terminal radar up here because the KLOT is not wanting to update. Yeah, see, this is much further off to the east now than it was before. This is why having these terminal weather radars are fantastic, because we can see more angles of it. We can see closer to it in some cases, especially in this case. But also, if we have one radar that's not behaving and won't update, we at least have other options. Sorry for that zoom in and zoom out. See if we have any new data from KLOT here. Okay, and we do. So what are we showing here? Okay, so that area of rotation around South Barrington has moved further off to the east now. We'll see if that's still rotating. That's an anomaly right there. That's because winds are blowing so fast that it's the computer has essentially it's a glitch that happens a lot of times with radar, where if you go beyond a certain number, it'll start looking like it's on the other side of the scale. So that's an anomaly there. That's not actually what's ongoing. Most of the circulations out here in this tornado warning look to have died down quite a bit. So that's good news. Looks like we may have what's going on here south of Arlington Heights. Looks like there could be a little bit of rotation south of Arlington Heights and south of Palatine. If there is any rotation down there, it's very weak. But again, these are tornado warnings until 8:30 p.m. These are for southeastern Lake and northeastern DuPage and northwestern, Cook counties. These are until 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. And these storms have history of producing tornadoes further off to the west. They're still in a favorable environment for it. So we are going to continue to monitor these. I'm going to take a quick peek down to the south and see if we have any watches or warnings down there. It does not appear like we do. So I'm going to come back off to the north here. I want to look at these storms that are starting to move into the Chicago area as well. So I'm going to switch back over to this terminal radar. Signs of rotation here. Not so much. So that's good news if you live in the Chicago area. Your sirens have likely been going off. Chicago proper is not currently in a tornado warning at all. All of these tornado warnings, while they include Cook County, they're further off to the north than Chicago is. Take a look at KLOT one more time. See what we got here. Yeah, not seeing much rotation in this line currently. Yeah, it's really forming this QLCS type line. The biggest area of concern I've got right now is right around Arlington Heights, where you have these little curly sections of the storm further off to the north. You can get vortexes in these little curly sections in QLCS type storms that can produce tornadoes within them. What's good though is that what we've got starting to form here is a bow echo right through here, which means that the outbound winds, the outflow winds, are beginning to blow much faster and are going to start separating from the updraft itself. Now, what's bad about this is that when this starts speeding off further out to the east, it can allow for rotation to form on the southern flank of it as well. So, for example, right in here, we might see a circulation start to wrap up as this begins to blow past the rest of the line further down to the south. So we'll have to monitor that and see what happens. I'm going to come back over to this terminal radar. Doesn't look like there's much rotation there. So that's good news. Still looks like we're bowing out a little bit, but closer to it from this terminal radar, it doesn't look like it's bowing nearly as much as it did from the KLOT radar. Again, this is why it's really important to have eyes anywhere that you can have them. Having these terminal radars are it's a very, very good thing to have. Looks like a tornado warning is now off further to the north. Let's see what's going on up here. Likely for this couplet right here, just south of Lake Zurich, moving into this warned area. I don't know if I'm not getting an updated. Oh, here we are. Tornado warning for southeastern Lake County, northeastern DuPage County, and northwestern Cook County until 8:30 p.m. This is a line of severe thunderstorms that is capable and has a history of producing tornadoes further off to the west that is now beginning to move into this area. I'm interested to see what rotation they're concerned about, because from the KLOT radar, I don't see much up there. I see even less from the terminal radar here. Let me know if you see anything, JD Railfan. If you're seeing anything that I'm not, let me know, because I'm not seeing much. There's definitely a little couplet there, but I'm seeing mostly very powerful winds and not so much any rotation. And this is a pretty recent scan as well. So yeah, my guess is that it is this little area of rotation right in here. When you're looking at and reading velocity maps, it's really important to know where your radar site is, because it's important for knowing whether you're seeing converging winds or diverging winds. They can look very similar if you don't know where the radar site is. So, for example, if we were to see this type of return much further out to the east, well, the green is going toward the radar and the red is going away from the radar. So, out this way, a couplet like that, green going toward and red going away, is a signature of divergence. Now, divergence can also bring considerable amount of winds, because as you get closer to the surface, divergence means sinking air. Further up, divergence typically means rising air, because you've got air that's coming up and it has to diverge further up in the atmosphere in order to make way for the air that's currently rising. But diverging air is more indicative of something like a microburst than it is of rotation. Anytime you see rotation and you're concerned about a tornado, you want to look for convergence, which is where the air is coming together, similar to right here, because we have winds that are going toward the radar site and winds that are going away from the radar site. So actually, further north, I drew that a little incorrectly. It's not east and west. What we're seeing is these winds up here are going south, and these winds down here are going north. And what you get in between them is you get a counterclockwise area of rotation, just like that. And that would be where your wall cloud, your funnel cloud, anything like that would be. So this is moved further off to the east now. We are closing in on the Vernon Hills area. There's likely very strong wind coming from this area. I do want to take a look and see if there are any reports. We'll switch back over to reflectivity for a moment here. I want to see if there are any reports of damaging wind in this area, because this is looks to be a pretty impressive bowing segment of this storm. So let's grab a look and see. Local storm reports. So we got that one tornado report over here. Not seeing any wind reports right now. It'll take a minute for those to come in, though. But you can see all the tornado reports with some of these more southern storms as well. This tornado warning right here is associated with the storm that produced this tornado. Currently an unconfirmed tornado. It was spotted by a spotter. This is where that very impressive circulation was, right by South Barrington. This was between radar scans that it must have touched down. And I don't think I ever saw the warning go to a confirmed warning. West of Long Grove looks like a notch on storm reflectivity, or storm relative velocity. Can't really see on reflectivity. Yeah, we'll take another peek at that. As always, storm relative velocity is not the best on. Oh, here we are. Okay, yeah, that is a that is a circulation right there, then I've gotten into the habit of not looking at storm relative velocity on WSV3 because it's not always the best product. But yeah, this right by Vernon Hills, this is where that area of rotation is going to be. If a tornado gets produced, that's where it's going to be at. So remember when I said earlier about the curly segments? That's exactly what this is. This is a bit of a curly segment where we're starting to see rotation at. And if we take a look at correlation coefficient, what are we going to see? I'm guessing that's not debris ball. I'm guessing that is an artifact, especially considering that we haven't seen this warning go observed yet. And with it having passed through a town, I want to see what this looks like. Yeah, there are definitely people living here, so we would have seen, or like a large-ish population. So if that were, if there were a tornado moving through the Long Grove area, there likely would have been a report. Although it looks like that might be wooded in that area, so I can't be too certain about that because it does look like that circulation passed just to the north. Grab another look at base velocity because it looks like we just got another scan in. Grab storm relative velocity. Yeah, still looks like an impressive circulation there. I see any other rotation. This storm is starting to move past the radar site down here, so the data further up to the north is going to get a little messier likely. But that Vernon Hills, Lincolnshire, Highwood, Lake Forest, Libertyville, they're all within this Riverwoods, all within this tornado warning. That's for this area of circulation that's moving. Now it's taken a turn to the north of Long Grove. Storm relative velocity, see what that shows with this new update. So yeah, this is moving into the Vernon Hills area now. See that area of rotation there where, again, this is now a linear storm. This is what we call a QLCS, a quasi-linear convective system. This is in particular a bowing section of it, a bow front. Sometimes it's referred to as. So this right here, which is where the winds behind it, the outflow winds, are starting to push it further out and causing it to bow. And what that can do is the winds back here can wrap around it and then get caught in that and cause that counterclockwise circulation right in these little curling bits on these QLCSs. But right now, this area of rotation is just north of Long Grove, just south of Vernon Hills, right in this curly section right here. The chief meteorologist at the news station I used to work at called them curly Qs. I don't know that I've seen that in any of my meteorological literature, but I think it's a pretty fitting name for them. But that's when this air wraps around the back and creates a little circulation back here. This is the only active tornado warning as of right now, at least that I've seen. I'm going to check around again and see if I've missed anything. But there don't appear to be any other real circulations that I'm concerned about. Yeah, where you're seeing this line right here of the green turning to red, this is just the storm passing the radar site. So what you end up getting is you've got winds that are moving past the radar site. So right here, it's still moving toward the radar, but on this end of it, it's moving past the radar. So that's not, this line right here is not circulation. It's just that relative to the radar, it's changing directions. And actually that line that I drew is not truly the direction of it. Down here, it's actually moving like this. You want the storm motion is to a right angle to that line there. So if we come over and look at reflectivity, and we look at how this is moving, this section of the storm is going to be moving off to the southeast. See how that made that turn there at the last second? That's what velocity can do. It can show you storm motion. So that particular section of the storm is moving off to the southeast. We come a little further off. Oops, I still have the telestration tool turned on. Further off to the north, this is moving more to the east, less to the south. So if we clear that, we'll draw another little line here. And then we hit play on that. Actually, let's switch that over to reflectivity. Let's see how that's gotten a more eastward component to it, and not really a southward component. That's what reading velocity can tell you. One of the things. I mean, the other thing is it can tell you where circulations are. Come back over to storm relative velocity here. See what this is doing. We've got a hail report from near Buffalo Grove, dime-sized hail. So there is still hail within these storms. These are pretty powerful storms, so I do expect that. A lot of the hail, and we've got an update on that tornado warning. This is now just in southeastern Lake County. This is until 8:30 p.m. Central Time. I'm going to repeat it because I don't know if anyone new is here. My clock up here is in Eastern Time. Illinois uses Central Time. So this is incorrect, but right now it's 7:58 in Illinois, and this tornado warning is until 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. Grab another look at that storm relative velocity. So this has moved through Vernon Hills. It looks like it's becoming less defined as it's moving off to the east. I'm not certain if that's because of all of the precipitation that the radar beam has to go through before it gets there, or if this, we're simply so far up in the atmosphere. If we take a look at the, let me grab my radar controls for a moment here. When I grab that, we can take a closer look at, we'll do a radial measure. So from out here, this is about a kilometer off the ground, or about 3,100 feet off the ground. So when you're looking at, in particular, tornadoes, you really want to look below a kilometer if possible. Now, if we had a tornado closer to the radar site, say out here in Elmhurst, we would be looking 377 meters, which is fairly close to the ground in meteorological sense anyway. If you were 300 some odd meters off the ground, it would be very large. That's roughly 3.5 football fields high. So if you imagine being that far off the ground, it'd be pretty frightening. But in terms of weather, that type of view into the storm really shows you what the base of the storm is doing, where the tornado would actually be forming. So it's good to have that. We're too far off the ground right now, though, to really be able to say what's going on. All I can say is there's absolutely a mesocyclone here, potentially a wall cloud. The circulation is strong enough that the National Weather Service has continued that tornado warning, and this warning out here is likely for, if I had to guess, potentially waterspouts. Let me see. The special marine warning is for... Okay, this is for wind. This isn't for waterspouts. But typically when you see areas where tornadoes are present move into the water, you'll see that verbiage change to, potentially waterspouts. But we can really see that wrapping up motion right now in that curly Q up here. Grab the telestration tool and I'll just demonstrate where that area of rotation is. That's right in here. You can see it wrapping up right where the most intense of the rainfall is wrapping into this. So I'll go ahead and clear the paint, or clear the telestration anyway. And then, yeah, that's a very, very impressive curly Q up there. Storm relative velocity still looks like it's indicative of a mesocyclone at the very least. Not seeing much else further to the south. We still have this severe thunderstorm warning, which includes Chicago. Actually, this severe thunderstorm warning appears to have been canceled. No, it has not. I was choosing the wrong section. This is for Kendall County in northeastern Illinois, southern Lake County, northwestern Will County, Kane County, southeastern McHenry County, DuPage County, and Cook County, all in northeastern Illinois. This is until 8:15, and these are for severe thunderstorms that are capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and half-dollar sized hail. So that's fairly large hail, all embedded in this system here. So definitely, if you are in that area, you are going to want to make sure your cars are in your garage, you're inside. There's likely a lot of lightning associated with this. I don't have the ability to display lightning on here, unfortunately. But these are very potent storms as they're moving through the greater Chicago area. All of the suburbs of Chicago right now are seeing rain, likely severe wind gusts, and likely some hail. I don't see any rotation around these storms moving into Chicago proper, which is good. These supercellular thunderstorms have formed into this quasi-linear convective system, or QLCS, which is typically more of a severe wind threat and potentially a severe hail threat than it is a tornado threat. You can have embedded supercells in it. Typically, those embedded supercells are going to be off toward the ends. Like I said, we've got these curly cues up here where these segments are beginning to bow out, and the precipitation is starting to wrap around the backside of it, which is why this tornado warning is still in effect for southeastern Lake County until 8:30. No confirmation on tornadoes around here. We do still have dime-sized hail reports. We've got wind gusts of 65 miles per hour being reported. We've just got another update in the radar, so we'll take a look at the storm relative velocity up here. Still that area of rotation, moving just over I-94 right now, passing Libertyville and into the Green Oaks area, moving just to the west of Lake Forest. This is just to the southwest of North Chicago. Still impacting many of the suburbs of Chicago as this is moving off, heading toward Lake Michigan. And once it's over Lake Michigan, the threat for at least people's property on land is over. This whole line is beginning to move further off into Lake Michigan. Now, what we have to keep in mind, though, is that this line is beginning to trigger storms further to the south. So near Preston Heights, Joliet, just north of Channahon. And these storms are moving into an environment still in an enhanced risk. We can take a look at that real quick. This area of enhanced risk spreads through much of northern, or at least northwestern Indiana. And as these move into favorable conditions for rotation and whatnot, as this begins to break and weaken the cap, we will see likely some rotating storms moving into parts of northwestern Indiana as well. I want to take a look to the south and see what these storms down here are doing. I'm going to turn convective outlook off. Not much, just got a couple of little rainy cells. They're still chipping away at that cap. What's good about these going into the night is that while the cap will wear down with these more nocturnal storms, a lot of these are going to stop being as surface based and they're going to be more elevated type thunderstorms. And while elevated type thunderstorms can still produce severe wind and some severe hail, they typically won't produce many, if any, tornadoes with them, because you typically need that cloud deck to be pretty close to the ground for the ground circulation and the upper level mesocyclone circulation to meet and then generate that tornado. But these storms off here in northeastern Illinois, they've produced a pretty impressive line of tornado reports, pretty impressive line of hail reports. We've got some reports from Imping. They're not exactly saying what size hail it is in many of these reports, but we've got a nickel-sized hail off here in Oswego. We have quarter-sized hail. We've got 53 knot wind gusts, which is a little over 60 mile per hour if I've got my conversion correct. 54 mile per hour gust east of North Aurora. Golf ball sized hail further off to the west as well. Another report that we saw earlier of dime sized hail, and then a quarter sized hail report as well. Storms are beginning to weaken somewhat as they're moving off. I do want to take a quick look at what the storm relative velocity is showing on here. Okay, so that's not a hook. That's good. I'm going to take a look at this terminal site here and see what that shows. Yeah, and you can really see how these terminal radars are great for precipitation around them, but not necessarily further away. I'm curious to see what the melting level here looks like. I'm guessing it's right in this band where we got some bright banding happening. Although I don't know that these terminal radars are coded to show the yeah, I'm guessing they're not coded to show the melting layer, because that seems to have broken it. I hope it doesn't crash when I click back to the KLOT site. All right, we are good. Yeah, the melting layer product just doesn't want to load. It doesn't look like, oh, unless it's way further out. Yeah, it's further out. So does this show melting layer on it? No, it doesn't. Okay. These storms are still moving off to the east. They're moving closer and closer to Lake Michigan. We do have to watch this storm that's popping up around Gary. Take a look at how this developed. Okay, so this is moving off to the north. So this is moving into Lake Michigan as well. See interesting motion in these storms, though, as we have these storms off here further to the east moving to the north, and then we have these storms over here to the west that are moving to the southeast. So we'll see some convergence between these areas. We'll likely see some storms pop up in this general area here shortly. I want to take a look at I'm going to take a look at satellite imagery real quick just to confirm that there's anything starting to tower right in here, and we've just crashed again. So I'm going to go ahead and use this as an opportunity to take a quick little break, and I will be right back. All right, and we are back. Sorry about that, guys. It's been happening a lot tonight. I'm going to take a quick peek at satellite imagery. See what's going on down there. We do have some cumulus clouds that are starting to build up into towers in that area, it looks like. So that we're likely going to start to see some thunderstorm development in that area right around the Chicago Heights and Hammond area if this line of storms doesn't catch up to it first. We'll see about that. But yeah, you can see just south of that, we've got some storms that are beginning to bubble up in northwestern Indiana. It looks like they are starting to actually increase in strength pretty quickly. I'm going to guess 3 or 4 scans ago, we weren't seeing anything from these. Yeah, look at that. Nothing about, was that 6 scans ago? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, 8 scans. And they've popped up and they're starting to intensify some. going to take a quick look at ZDR and see if we can tell where the updrafts in these are. Okay, so where these ZDR spikes are, this is where we're expecting to see those updrafts. So what's going to happen is you're likely going to see some intensification starting from roughly here for this cell and roughly here for this cell, because that's where those heightened ZDRs were. Take a look at that right there. So these storms, especially this southernmost storm right here, is likely going to become more robust as it moves further to the north. But yeah, as of right now, things have quieted down. We have no active tornado warnings. We do have a couple active severe thunderstorm warnings right now. These are for, well, this is still saying that it's canceled, but I know it's not canceled. There we are. Severe thunderstorm warning for Kendall County, Southern Lake County, Northwestern Will County, Kane County, Southeastern McHenry County, DuPage County, and Cook County until 8:15. And these are for storms that are capable of producing 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts and half-dollar sized hail. Take another peek down to the south and see if anything's starting to initiate down here. Still got a couple of little storms here in parts of Illinois. We'll take another closer look at them and see what we can see. Nothing impressive out here so far. Pretty weak updrafts overall. This one here's got a decent updraft for the size of it. I'm actually kind of impressed by that updraft there. This one will probably pop off pretty quickly. I'm going to take a quick look at the Storm Prediction Center, and we've just crashed again. I'm going to send this over to here instead of just cutting out. There you go. You should be able to hear me now. WSV3 keeps crashing anytime well, not all the time when I'm switching radar sites, but it's been happening when I've been doing that. So that's less than ideal. But yeah, the primary concern right now are these storms that are moving. They're going to start moving into parts of northwestern Indiana. They're currently in northeastern Illinois. They're moving into Lake Michigan. Got a hail report out here. Doesn't tell me what size it is. They're allowing this cell out here to expire, or the warning out here to expire anyway, because the storm is weakened enough that they're not particularly concerned about it. As we've expected, this storm right here is beginning to intensify some with updrafts like that. I expected them to. I believe these are moving off to the north as well. So these will be moving into the Valparaiso area. They're going to just miss Maryville unless they form a little bit further off to the west, which it does not appear that they're doing so. Those updrafts being on the west side of the storm, most of the upper level winds are blowing off to the east, so you do see an elongated cell here and an elongated cell up to the north as well. Interesting what this one here is doing, though. It looks like it could be wrapping up a little bit as it moves over Lake Michigan. I'll take a quick look at the storm relative velocity on that one. And we're too far away from the radar site to really tell anything. So that's nice. But with it moving out to sea, threat to life and property is considerably reduced, so that's good on that. Not seeing anything else too impressive from anywhere else really. We'll take a look at mean estimated hail size and see what is going on here. If the product will load this time. It didn't load last time. Yeah, I'm not seeing anything on this, so I'm going to guess that it must be broken. And reflectivity is broken. There we are. Now we're back. Okay. These storms are beginning to move into the Orland Park area. Really not a ton to talk about. They're producing mostly wind damage at this point. The hail damage has subsided quite a bit. I haven't seen a report for hail in quite a while. Would have been nice for the mean estimated hail size to work. I'm going to double check it again and see if we get anything. I've still got nothing on that. So we'll continue monitoring that, see if we can get that to load at some point. I want to take a quick look at these cells over here again. There were a couple over here that we expected to intensify. Yeah, there's a little intensification with them. Nothing too crazy. Especially right over Mount Zion. Again, these are heavily capped environments right now. The cap will continue to weaken, especially as these storms start to bubble up and put in the tops of the clouds push up against that cap. What will essentially happen is the capping inversion, for those that don't know, is when you have warmer air sitting on, you've got air aloft that's warmer than the air below it, which is a stable situation. Within that layer below the really warm pocket of air, you can have rising motion still, because you'll still see a decrease in temperature with height. And so you have an unstable situation below the cap, but not enough energy to breach the cap. So when you get these little pop-ups, these little sprinkles that are beginning to form all around southern parts of Illinois, these will push up against that cap. They'll mix into the cap some to weaken it. And then further along, you'll get pretty explosive development of thunderstorms once they've actually breached the cap. There should be enough energy to breach them at some point, and that's why there is that slight risk into parts of central Indiana, whereas we only have a marginal risk for bits of central, really east central Illinois right now. And that's because the storms out here are going to weaken that cap until they eventually break, and storms can really fire off in this I-70 to I-74 corridor here. The bigger story tonight is going to be in this Ohio River Valley area, where we have that enhanced risk. We can take a look at the convective outlook for this. That's where that enhanced risk is, right along the Ohio River, stretching just south of Louisville, Madisonville, Paducah. Let's see, Vincennes is included in that. Perryville. A lot of these names I'm not going to be able to pronounce very well. Bloomington, Columbus, Greensburg, Oxford, Cincinnati is included in this. Florence, Xenia, Dayton, Eaton. All of these areas are within that enhanced risk, and this is for later on tonight. Go ahead and turn that back off and run back over to reflectivity. But see, these storms down here they've popped off. This one's starting to intensify a little bit. It might be gearing up to breach that cap, the one right just north of Mount Zion. This is the one that I indicated earlier may have some pretty impressive development. And so far it looks like it has. It's still a little cell, but all it takes is one to breach that cap before they all start to breach it. So keep an eye on that. This right here is all ground clutter. It's buildings, hills, trees, anything that's tall enough to interfere with the beam. Could be windmills. This looks to be a more rural area, so I doubt there are any tall buildings out this way. Windmills will often interfere with radar as well, so there could be that there. I know that we'll oftentimes see some stuff in northern Indiana along I-65 here, where there are some windmills out that way. But yeah, right now things in northern Illinois are dying down. We can see that there's been more development with these cells right around Valparaiso, starting to move to the north and push closer to Lake Michigan. We have this cell off here that was just impacting Gary. It's starting to get a more eastward component to it as it moves further off to the north. You can see just a few scans ago it was moving pretty far north, and now it's made a turn out to the east as it's getting ahead of the outflow from this storm ahead of it. One of the things to keep in mind with any QLCS is if the outflow becomes a little too strong, what can end up happening is that outflow boundary can actually push past the line of storms and start triggering storms out ahead of it and cause those to breach the cap and then pop off and continue going. So that could be what's causing these storms out here to trigger and why they're starting to gain a more eastward component, whereas before they had a more northern component to them. But right now things are dying down. Don't see much area of concern out here in northeastern Illinois. Take a look at storm relative velocity. Some impressive wind returns from these more southern storms. They are a lot closer to the radar site. But not seeing a ton right now that I'm concerned about. Like I said, one interesting thing here is that we can see convergence happening on radar. So we see all of this green is moving toward the radar site, and all of this red right here is moving away from it. So we do have areas of convergence, which means that this area right here is likely in what's called a ZDR arc. So we'll take a look at the ZDR real quick. And yeah, we do see a slight ZDR arc right behind the area of convergence, and this is where that air is rising, where that air is meeting, because when they converge like that, they don't have anywhere to go except up. So that's where you start to see storms that'll pop off that way. And with this update, you can see that ZDR arc a little clearer now as well, as these push off to the east. I'm going to take a quick peek at the Storm Prediction Center and see if they've given us any mesoscale updates. Or mesoscale discussions, my bad. All right, we have a mesoscale discussion for southern Indiana. This is including that whole area along the Ohio River. I believe I can pull up mesoscale discussions. Yeah, here we are. So that includes areas like Evansville, Louisville, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Paducah, Cairo, Anna, Harrisburg, Bloomington, Bedford, Columbus, Frankfort, Mount Washington, Beaver Dam, Princeton. All of these areas are within this mesoscale discussion, and this is for the likelihood of a watch of some kind being issued. It looks like they are airing on tornado watch in this area, and this is there's a 95% chance of a watch issuance. So we'll see what's going on there. The discussion says that there is an surface observations near St. Louis showed the dry line retreating westward with a surge in dew points to the low 60s. So I want to see where that dry line is. The dry line's likely, it has to be just ahead of that cold front. So I'm guessing that this storm right here had actually been triggered by the dry line. So I'll throw a little illustration where I think that dry line is. So I'm guessing that extends down. No, not quite there. It's got to be behind that new area of convection down there. This is where I'm assuming that dry line's set up. We'll take a look at the Weather Prediction Center. Fronts. Okay, so the Weather Prediction Center isn't actually showing that dry line, so that dry line must have set up pretty recently. Yeah, I'm not seeing any dry line on this on the Weather Prediction Center page. The Storm Prediction Center has identified it. It does look like it roughly goes through that area. That mesoscale discussion, by the way, was put out about 40 minutes ago. So my guess is that this tornado watch down here for parts of southern Illinois, southern Indiana, parts of central Illinois and Indiana, as well as along the Ohio River, parts of northern Kentucky, and parts of southwestern Ohio, will be issued in the next 20 or so minutes. See if there's anything triggering down further to the south. I don't see much. There's a little cell near Effingham. Take a look at the ZDR on this. Not much in the way of updraft there. What is this over here in southern Indiana? There's a decent updraft on this one right here. So this may end up growing into something pretty quickly. Yeah, it looks like it just popped up. So we'll have to keep an eye on this cell right here and see how that begins to develop as it moves further off to, appears to be moving to the northeast. Yeah, east-northeast. See if that can breach the cap at all. I want to see what the Storm Prediction Center is saying about lapse rates, though. Oh man, I've been on this page for a while. I haven't been on... I apologize for that. I haven't actually been on the radar at all. So let's see here. I'm going to take another quick peek at the most recent run of the HRRR model. Yeah, so the HRRR model really shows stuff popping off in southern Illinois right around midnight. And then it'll push through to southern and central Indiana right around 1 a.m. to 2 a.m. sometime in that time frame. I'd be shocked to see that tornado watch extended all the way into Ohio. It looks like the environment's going to kind of fall apart a little bit for it in Ohio. It'll still have the shear for it. I just don't know that it'll have the cape for it. But all these little storms down here to the south are going to start developing here pretty shortly. It's like some of them are starting to grow out here toward Decatur, at least grow enough that that radar site down to the south was able to pick them up. Yeah, a lot of scattered stuff that is going to gradually wear away at that cap. Let's see if the Storm Prediction Center has any data on... Take a look at their 0Z soundings. Observed sounding analysis. Let's go. Okay. Okay, yeah, so the cap is mostly gone in central Illinois. So we just need something to trigger the development of storms. The shear in central Illinois doesn't look as impressive, but that's going to change as that dry line approaches a little closer. Yeah, that's what I was just talking about with the southern Indiana, southern Indiana, southern Illinois, and Kentucky um, mesoscale discussion. And it looks like there was another mesoscale discussion further off to the north in parts of north central Indiana and parts of southwestern into central parts of Michigan as well. That warm front is starting to lift off to the north more, and as it does so, it's going to bring with it the severe threat for that part of lower Michigan and northern Indiana. It doesn't look like maybe the warm front has pushed further to the north. This storm is just oriented a little strangely. Yeah, that warm front is actually kind of considerably pretty far to the north. So we've got two active mesoscale discussions, both with watch likely on them. The northern Indiana, southern Michigan mesoscale discussion is an 80% chance of watch issuance. It looks like they are potentially going for severe thunderstorm watch, whereas the southern Indiana watch that they are talking about issuing is at a 95% potential for issuance, and that is for a tornado watch. So nothing super interesting happening at the moment. See about how long it stays that way though. It looks like we'll likely have a bit of a lull for the next, I'd say, hour or two. In which case, I might go eat real fast before stuff really starts popping off again. Might pause the stream briefly and look at sharing this on both YouTube and on Facebook. Yeah, these storms are starting to wear out in central Illinois. So they're not entirely ready to produce at the moment. Let's see what the surface winds are looking like. So yeah, we've definitely got some kind of that dry line. It's going to be right through central Illinois right now. So these storms are going to have to pop off of that dry line. So yeah, there's still a severe thunderstorm warning um, until 9 p.m. Central Standard Time for southeastern Cook County. This is for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-sized hail. So as this is moving further toward northern Indiana, this is starting to fall apart. It doesn't have the potency that it had just a couple of hours ago when it produced all of these tornadoes out further to the west. Interested to see what this little feature down here is, if that's any rotation or not. Grab storm relative velocity on that. No, it doesn't look like that's anything, so that's good. But yeah, this is really melded together into this QLCS, and it's moving over Lake Michigan as we speak. Some stuff is starting to initiate in parts of northern Indiana. It's moved off over Lake Michigan as well. Got a little cell out here near Fort Wayne, Indiana. Doesn't look too powerful. Let's take a look at the ZDR on this. Most of this storm is an updraft, so this is likely still a growing storm here. Take a look and see how this is developed. Yeah, so it's still growing. got something down here in southern Indiana, near the Indiana-Illinois, or not Illinois, sorry, Indiana-Ohio-Kentucky border. Yeah, just a little cell down there. Got a couple of cells in southern Indiana that are starting to develop some. We'll take a look at the. No, nope. I guess we're not taking a look at the Paducah radar. I'm gonna switch back over to the Storm Prediction Center real quick, so that I can handle this crash. All right, and we are back, fortunately. So, yeah, just a couple of little showers down here from the Paducah radar, mostly through parts of central Kentucky. So nothing really starting right here. So I think with this, I will go ahead and take a quick break from the stream. I will leave the radar up here in northern Illinois, and hopefully by the time I get back, we will have a little bit more to talk about. Right now, it's just this severe thunderstorm warning that includes Chicago. This is until 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. Again, my clock is in Eastern Time, so do not base this off of any decisions that you make this clock up here. It's just my system time. I'm not getting any data from this radar. But I will leave it on this for right now while I go and grab a quick bite to eat. Mesoscale discussion is getting a little closer, too close for comfort for me, just 2 miles north of Toledo. They do another one, or is that the... Oh, yeah, yeah. Fortunately, though, that's just a it's just a severe thunderstorm watch, mesoscale discussion. So I'm guessing that likely, if there is a watch that's issued, it'll be mostly for, I'm guessing, wind and hail. Let me actually take a look at the environment for the area around Toledo. Actually, I'll bring it over to the models right now. So let's see here. Marginal Tor. That hodograph has a decent curve to it. Not a ton of cape. LFC is pretty high, so my guess is to say that the tornado threat for northern Ohio tonight is going to be probably pretty low. I'm not going to rule out an isolated one, but the cape is a little on the weak side. The hodograph isn't particularly robust. And with that LFC being so high, you might get a funnel, you might get a like an elevated supercell out of it. But this model isn't really showing the QLCS that we've developed very well either. Let's see what the 0Z NAM is showing, or not NAM, the NAM 3 kilometer. That one's not really showing it either. But hey, if the NAM is the more accurate one right now, at least it looks like it'll largely miss you until early morning tomorrow, and when it hits you, yeah, the hodograph is a little janky. I don't know about that hodograph. But hey, on the bright side, you'll at least see some flurries. So there is that, if you're into snow anyway. All right, radar still has not loaded anything. Let's turn that off and back on again. Handy dandy tool. There we are. Take another quick look at storm relative velocity before I head out for a moment. Yeah, we're looking good. We are looking good so far. We'll see how far south this all develops, and we'll see when that tornado watch gets issued for the south here, and when that severe thunderstorm watch gets issued off to the north. I'm going to turn on my watches. So that's where that tornado watch is for most of this watched area should no longer be in a watch. They're not really at any great risk of tornadoes currently. If they see any other weather tonight, it's almost all going to be snow. It's kind of crazy. The same areas that got hit by a tornado today are going to get snow just a couple hours later. It's not unheard of, I know, and kind of how these early spring low pressure systems tend to operate, but it is a little baffling to think about. So right now, this tornado watch just extends into parts of northwestern Indiana and parts of northeastern Illinois for where it's still truly active. This is until 10 p.m. Central Standard Time as well. So we'll see when they issue those watches, and hopefully I'm back before they do. So I'm just going to leave it at this for now. I'm going to go ahead and mute my microphone, and I will be back shortly. All right, I am back briefly to talk about this tornado warning out here in northern Indiana and northwestern Indiana and northeastern Illinois. Um, this is a tornado warning for southeastern Cook County and northwestern Lake County. Cook County being in Illinois, Lake County being in Indiana. This is until 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. This is for a thunderstorm that is capable of producing a tornado. In addition, we also have the severe thunderstorm watch that we mentioned in the mesoscale discussion that is now up for parts of northern Indiana, all throughout most of central Michigan, South Michigan, stopping short of eastern Michigan and far northwestern Ohio. So that is up now. This severe thunderstorm watch is in effect until 5 a.m. We've got a couple severe thunderstorm warnings up in Michigan as well, but we're going to come and take a look at this storm with the tornado warning. I'm going to turn off the severe watches real quick. We're going to hop over to storm relative velocity and see what we see. And we do not see much. So let's, instead of doing storm relative, let's do just base velocity. So there is a little area of rotation here just north of Hammond, right between Calumet City and Hammond, heading toward East Chicago and the Gary area. Yeah, we could see a bit of that rotation on storm relative velocity. That's right in this rear section of this storm. So this storm is moving off to the northeast, and as it does so, there is that tornado warned section for the back of this storm. It's now mostly over the Indiana-Illinois border, fully in Illinois now, or not Illinois, sorry, Indiana now. Heading toward, once again, the East Chicago area. I doubt it'll hit Gary, but Gary is still within that tornado warning. So sirens are going off. If you live in Gary, definitely take shelter. But as of right now, this is a tornado warned storm. It's moving off to the northeast at about 35 miles per hour. This tornado warning is in effect until 9:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. As I've said multiple times, do not pay attention to the time on my screen. This Tuesday at 10:07 p.m. This is in Eastern Time, whereas right now we are dealing with Central Time. I'm not seeing anything else anywhere else bubbling up at all. We may have some stuff in Central Illinois starting to pop. Looks like we have a little cell out here near St. Louis that's going up as well. So yeah, we've got a couple of things out here in Missouri starting to inch their way into southern Illinois. We'll take a quick look at further south in Illinois. Nothing really to talk about in here at the moment. Mostly just this tornado warning that is near Gary, Indiana. We'll take a look at this terminal radar and see if there is a better signature for rotation on this. Boy, that's worse. There's definitely convergence going on there, though, where the red and the green right here are meeting. This green is going toward the radar site, and this red's going away from it, and where they meet, that's where you'll get updrafts and whatnot. I'm guessing that the circulation is right in this area here. We'll come back to reflectivity and see what's right in that area. Of course, that's not the palette. I dislike when it does that. It's also not the palette. Come on. There we are. So we'll switch back over to velocity. So there's a little couplet there. We'll go over to storm relative velocity. Yeah, the rotation in this area is fairly weak. So I'm not expecting anything to form here. That said, I would heed the warning of the National Weather Service. They have issued that tornado warning, and they've issued it for a reason. So if you were within that warned box, if you're hearing sirens going off right now, definitely get inside, seek shelter. Um, this is a rotating storm, and it does appear that it is moving into the Indiana area at the moment. It is fully out of Illinois. Uh, the warned area is still within Illinois, though, uh, but the threat has passed out of Illinois and into Indiana. It's a rather old radar scan, so we'll see what happens as it pushes into near Calumet City and into the East Chicago area, also near Gary. The storm was previously severe thunderstorm warned, and this severe thunderstorm warning was for inch and a quarter hail as well as 60 mile per hour wind gusts. So we'll continue monitoring this and seeing what is going on here. Still waiting for that issuance of that tornado watch to the south. See when that comes. They said over the next hour or two. It's been a little over an hour now since they said that. With a 95% chance of issuance, it's pretty high. I'm gonna take a quick peek at the latest HRRR model. See what most recent. Okay, now it's showing a QLCS further to the north. Buildup of storms right around midnight. Still a decent tornado threat as well. Hey, how's it going, Pyro? Welcome. I hope that you're still here. I'm not 100% certain when you sent that. Hope that I caught you. You'll be in that watch. I'm thinking I might be in that watch too, depending on how far north they issue it. Looks like there's a little tail coming off this. It looks like that circulation's passing over East Chicago right now. So if there is anything, we should see a debris ball. Not convinced that that's a debris ball though. So that's good. Yeah, it's just pushing out into Lake Michigan so far right now. Once that fully moves over Lake Michigan, we will be good. Right now, there are no other tornado warnings except for what is ongoing right now in northwestern Indiana. I would say also Illinois because that's also warned, but the threat has moved out into Indiana, and fairly soon it will be moving out over Lake Michigan as well. Yeah, it's been a few years. I'm really busy. I work 2 jobs right now, and taking overtime at one of them, so that's fun. um, and don't have a lot of free time on my hands, but I couldn't pass up an event so close to home. Talking about it, at least I do a little bit of forecasting for one of my jobs, and they everyone got a little excited when I mentioned that there may be a tornado threat, so decided to pop on here and do a little bit of streaming just for old time's sake, you know. And eventually, I hope to do it more often, but I'm not going to make any promises because we all know how good I've been at keeping those when I've talked about, you know, hopping back on the wagon and doing it again. But, you know, that's life. That's adulting. But thanks for hopping on here. It's good to see you too, man. I hope you're doing well. Yeah, yeah. That man, I don't miss the drama. Not gonna lie. Everything with direct weather and David Schlauer and all that stuff, that's well, it was fun, but you know, when the drama hit, those were kind of dark days. Um so much stuff. I've heard some things in passing and not a lot of good things at that, particularly about one of them. So I'm glad to be separated from that whole thing now. Does Direct Weather still make content? Oh, he does. Ballby. Yeah, it sounds good if you want to. I'm not super active on Discord, but I'm in way too many servers right now. What's the server? Is it the I'm trying to think. I'm wondering if I'm already in it just because of the amount of them that I'm in. I also don't want to if you are not like making it super public that you're doing it. I don't want to or that you know that you've got that server. I don't want to announce what the name of it is. I'm gonna start paying attention to the southern part of this system. See when stuff's gonna pop up. Yeah, the threat is now out of the tornado warned area. They're likely going to cancel this. Yep, they've looks like they've gone ahead and canceled it. Well, they've canceled it for Cook County at least. It's still in effect for Lake County, but the rotation has moved out of the area now, so there's no longer a threat. We'll move back over here to the St. Louis radar and see what's going on there. This is that line of storms that's going to make its way through southern Illinois, into parts of northern Kentucky, southern Indiana, and then eventually parts of western Ohio that will bring that tornado threat that will cause that tornado watch for the areas I just mentioned. They're starting to bubble up back here in Missouri, and they're making their way through the St. Louis area right now. I think the conditions are a lot more favorable for development out further into Illinois. So once they hit that, they'll have a lot more energy to work with and form. I think that it looks like they're likely gonna take more of a QLCS type development, with the northernmost extent being just past potentially the St. Louis to Effingham to Terre Haute to Muncie to Salina line, and then most of the storm activity being south of that. Gotcha. Yeah, no, I don't. Yeah, I don't have that. I'm not in that Discord. So with that said, I'm gonna hop off here for a few more minutes and eat while I wait for new developments to happen. Probably gonna be up fairly late tonight, so I will be back.